Kunal Tilakar says, I'm sad about reports that Brahim Diaz is leaving on loan to Milan again. I don't know why he isn't seen as someone who can contribute even off the bench. I've always liked what I saw from him, and we don't really have a good right wing anyway. Anyways, my question, with no money probably being spent this year, and if Varane leaves, what do you think Ancelotti has to do to make this team compete for titles next year? And of those things, what do you think he can do, and what can he not? Funny enough, Kunal, I actually think the first part of this,
right,
which wasn't even
was
a question, is more interesting than your actual question. But that's just me. We should talk about Brahim, though.
Yeah. Let's talk about Brahim for 5 minutes, because
Okay.
I feel like we've been getting significant development about his situation. It seems like his second loan deal to Milan is about to be official. Real Madrid will keep an option. Well, Milan, first of all, will have an option to buy him permanently for 24 million euros in the following summer, in the summer of 2022. And then Real Madrid will have an option, a 27 million option to bring him back to Real Madrid if they think this is appropriate. As Kunal says, I'm baffled. I don't know what else Brahim needs to do to prove that he at least deserves a shot at the roster. I mean, I'm not saying a spot as an undisputed starter. I'm not saying any. I am only saying what. To be let me speak the truth here. What has Rodrigo done that Brahim hasn't done? Even if obviously I'm talking about Milan. I mean, Brahim has shown enough in Milan to at least compete with Rodrigo for minutes, right? I mean, I think it's a fair argument here in a fair competition between the two. And all of a sudden, Real Madrid still haven't seen enough from Brahim. I think Milan are a quality club. Brahim improved them significantly this past season and completed very good individual performances and proved his worth. And as Kunal mentions again, it's not like Real Madrid are very deep at the right wing spot, because I mean, maybe they keep trusting Bale to play heavy minutes there this summer because Real Madrid can't get rid of his contract, and maybe they keep thinking that Rodrigo is going to be, or Rodrigo or Asensio for that matter, are going to become undisputed starters because all of a sudden they're going to score 20 goals a season. And I'm not saying that Brahim would score 20 goals a season, but I think that he's done enough and he's proved enough to at least earn him a spot in this current Real Madrid team. I mean, if he was a pure left winger, maybe I would think differently because of Hazard, obviously, and Vinicius. But I think the situation is different with the right wing, and I think he's the most natural right winger of the whole roster Real Madrid have built this season. So I'm baffled about the situation.
I'm equally baffled, but I'm also higher on Rodrigo than you are. I think so. Like, I actually really like Rodrigo, and I think he has a pretty...
Fine, that's fair.
But I think he has a decent future, and I think he showed us some pretty exciting stuff, and his numbers in limited minutes are pretty good. But the ones I would say is, like, he's clearly ahead of Asensio and Bale to me.
Yeah, but he isn't. Well, he wasn't, at least, with Zidane.
Zidane is a whole different enigma, that he evaluated players a certain way, and some of them made sense, some of them didn't.
I mean, exactly. He was behind of Lucas Vázquez, actually, as a right winger. So maybe the situation is different with Ancelotti. I don't know. And maybe Rodrigo, all of a sudden, if he gets consistent minutes week in and week out, explodes and becomes this player we all want him to be. But from what we've seen this past season, I know and I get it. He hasn't been getting confidence from his coach, and it's tough to play one game a month, and I get it, and it's a fair point. And his first season was great, actually. I mean, I'm more disappointed about his second season than I was about his first, because I probably expected more from him given how great his first season was. But maybe the situation will be different now. But the fact here is that he wasn't even ahead of not only Asensio but Lucas Vázquez as a right winger. So it's a strange situation. Yeah.
Well, I think part of the issue, Lucas, is, and what I hope is the case, is that Real Madrid do see a future for Brahim Diaz, but I think the biggest barrier is that Bale is coming back, and I think the club is probably like, well, I guess one more year on loan in a situation where he's doing well, he's fitting in, he's developing nicely, and unfortunately we have Bale coming back, so we kind of have to make it work with Bale. Like we don't have a choice.
Right.
I think that maybe that's the barrier, is that once Bale comes off the books next summer, then it'll be easier to bring Brahim back. That's my hope anyway. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the only thing I can actually think of. That would, because I'm equally baffled. I don't know why because to me he is a Real Madrid squad player next season. Based on talent, he's there. But I think the problem is not so much Rodrigo. The problem is you have a lot of players in that position, maybe not great ones, but you have them and you have to figure out what to do with them. So maybe 1 year, but just buying time again until you figure it out.
Yeah, but are those players natural for that spot, or are you playing them because you don't have nobody else? Because I think that's the case with Rodrigo and Asensio. I have to be honest. I mean, I don't think neither Rodrigo nor Asensio are built to play as right wingers. I think Asensio is more comfortable behind the striker as a false nine, maybe, and even I like him better on the left wing, to be honest, than on the right. And definitely for Rodrigo, I think Rodrigo is very uncomfortable on the right wing. Maybe not as uncomfortable as Vinicius, but I don't think Rodrigo, I don't think that's Rodrigo's favorite position at all. I mean, I would rather see him playing as a striker or even on the left wing than on the right wing. So are these guys being played there because you don't have nobody else? Well, enter Brahim because he's the one who can play there naturally, and I think he will be a great fit. So that this lack of trust on Brahim's current potential to crack his spot in the starting lineup might actually cost you 5 million if Milan execute their option to buy him and he's good enough so that you're deciding to bring him back. I think that's I don't know, it's 3 million, I don't know, anyway, 3 or 5 million. And the situation is not easy enough to be giving these millions away, when I think the answer should be pretty clear here. I think that you need a player who's natural on the right wing, and neither Rodrigo nor Asensio are. So the situation is definitely surprising for me.
So I think Rodrigo's best position is on the left, but I think unfortunately for him, Hazard and Vinicius are on the left as well.
Right.
And double unfortunate for him, he has something which I call it's Marcos Llorente syndrome. When you're a player who can play in multiple positions, then you're going to be unfairly put in those positions because no one else can play those positions.
Right.
And but the way I look at it though is like there's the whole left wing right wing thing. But the way I look at it is like if we count the players we have, like we're talking about two spots here, right? Like if you want to say, depending on how Ancelotti you play, maybe he goes with a 4-2-3-1, maybe he goes with a 4-3-3. He can play. He's shown different kinds of schemes, different places he's gone. But let's say we have two positions open alongside Benzema, just for argument's sake. Instead of looking
which
at
is what you have, yeah, let's make it clear. That's what you have, because even if Ancelotti plays 4-2-3-1, I think Odegaard is the starter behind the striker. So those two openings are the ones we're talking about. Yeah.
So instead of looking at it left wing, right wing, I look at it as two spots for Hazard, Vinicius, Rodrigo, Asensio. That's 4. Bale, 5. And if you put Brahim, that's 6 players. That's the way I look at it. I think that's and Ancelotti kept talking about we need to trim down the roster. So that's why I think like it's just too many players. And if you bring Brahim back, what are you going to do with the other ones?
Are Bale and Hazard reliable enough to count as a proper player, for competing for that spot?
No, but
I mean, we know that they won't be competing for that spot. We know that they won't be competing for that spot like for half a season.
But they're here, so it's hard to rely on that. I understand what you're saying. I'm with you, but if they're in the squad, you kind of have to account like, okay, now we have 6 players for 2 positions, and I don't know. It's a tricky one. It's a really tricky one because like who knows? Like if there's a less than 5% chance all of a sudden Hazard's going to be healthy next season, I don't know. Maybe next season's the outlier. I don't think he will be. I don't think you can rely on him or Bale. But if they're in the squad next season, that's 6 players you have to deal with and accommodate if Brahim stays. I think that's the issue.
Right.
It'll be easier next summer, I think, to deal with this. We didn't even mention Kubo, but there's no chance Kubo will be part of the squad.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No. If Brahim isn't part of the squad, Kubo is nowhere close. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. The second part of this question.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on that? So what do you think Ancelotti has to do to make this team compete for titles next year? And of those things, what do you think he can do and what can he not?